Hello my friends and welcome, my name is Dennis and this is the latest update from Ukraine. We have some of the good news from the front lines. Ukraine was able to stop two of the Russian attacks, one near Nevelsky and the other one near Georgievka in Marinka sector. To cut the Russian assaults, Ukraine used the FPV drones as usual and some of the artillery. We have the confirmation about the successful mission from our military command, and also we have the proof from the drone cameras. Let's watch them. So here you can see the tank and two of the armored vehicles. This is the Marinka direction. And Ukraine used the FPV drones, so fantastic videos as usual. Sometimes one drone is not enough. Usually it's not enough, for example, for the Russian tank. In this case, it is the BMP. After the first strike, it became abandoned vehicle, and not to let Russians to evacuate it from the front lines, many other drones were sent to Kaputt finally. Yeah, this image is not good, but here you can see the Russian tank. As usual, Russians have their mid-wave tactics. They don't care about their losses of their tanks, BMPs. If Ukraine had that amount of the weaponry, our military would succeed in any point of the front line, even without this mid-wave tactics. One more Russian convoy was also ambushed near to Novomikhailivka. We have the information about it from the Deep State military map source, and here we have some of the videos from the place. As usual, the full version you may find on my Telegram channel. Nevertheless, Russia moved a little on the other directions of the front lines. For example, in Orlivka, we see that this village is almost occupied by the Russian forces. Let's go to the satellite image for a better view. As for the timeline, they took more of the territory, several more buildings in Orlivka village. Here the main task for Ukraine is to cut this supply connection across this tiny little river. For sure, Russia will advance to this area and will take this part under control very soon. Let's go to the south direction, where Russia has the advancement vector towards Robotyne village. They entered the village once again. It's the fourth time already. Usually they've been demolished by Ukrainian forces from the sides, so it is early to say whether they took the ground in this village. Our forces already ambushed the Russian army 3 times in Robotyne for the last 10 days. However, in Verbovo, Russia advanced really, so it was yesterday and it is today. They've took this field under control and the Ukrainian army had to move the forces out from the place. I've already told you that this area for Ukraine is kind of risky under the threat of being encircled by Russians from 2 of the sides, so our command had to leave the ground and move out. But as you can see on the south, even using elite forces of the Russian Federation, Russian paratroopers, Russia is unable to gain territories very quickly. They bogged down there for a few of the months already. I predicted that Russia would occupy Robotyne in a matter of days, judging on the forces they deployed in the region. But my forecast luckily failed, and Russia is unable to move and occupy this tiny little village. But still, we see that Russia has all of the chances to do it because they have more resources, more army men, more vehicles, more everything. At the same time, we have the good news from the Russian opposition forces. It's been confirmed that they liberated a village of Gorky. Let's go to the place. So they were deployed in this area with their infantry units. This is the local school of the village. It's now empty because there is the war zone very close. All of the people mostly evacuated from the area. And here we have the guys holding the Legion of Freedom flag. It means that all of the Russian bots and trolls who say that the Legion of Freedom didn't go there and they just filmed TikToks on the Ukrainian territory, well, they were wrong. All of the proofs that the Legion of Freedom really went far from Ukrainian border. And as a chief of Ukrainian military intelligence says, it is just a beginning. Those guys do have enough resources to continue their special military operation. The last night, Ukraine targeted one more Russian oil refinery facility. It is located in Rostov Oblast. 5 of the drones, at least 5 of the drones, made it to the target. My friends, I have more videos available, but I'm unable to show you them on this platform. For that, I used Telegram, so yesterday night, right after this refinery was targeted, I already obtained the information, the video confirmation, and I posted it on my Telegram. So please subscribe for me on Telegram to have the access for the current data and the information I share about Ukraine. It is not the advertisement, it's the way I communicate with my audience. One more way and backup way, because I don't know what might happen to this platform and my channel. This map shows the Russian refineries that were attacked and will be targeted soon. As you see, mostly they are located on the European part of the Russian Federation, and you see how far Ukraine might strike from its territory. It means that all of those are just doomed. And what is left out of the range is simply not enough for Russia for their demands. The Russian fuel crisis is just imminent, but we understand that even during this fuel crisis, Russia would do their best to supply diesel for their armored vehicles and tanks. Even eliminating the fuel for ordinary Russians or for crucial supplies they need for their economy, the war is more important for Putin than anything else. And here you see of how many oil refinery facilities have already been targeted. Alright, we have some of the news from Tiraspol city, the capital of the self-proclaimed Republic of Transnistria. They have a military airfield over here. They reported today their military helicopter Mi-8 was targeted by the drone. Let's watch the video. Yeah, we see that it's not the best quality, but nevertheless it was kaboom. And later on, helicopter just burned down to ashes. Well, what can I say? Even judging on this video, the low quality video, we may see that this helicopter wasn't in operational condition. Something went wrong with the canopy, so the windows, this window seems to be broken. The paint of the helicopter is in terrible condition, so here it's amber, like rusty even. I know that helicopters cannot rust because they are made out of alloy, but here we see some of the green color, so it's not a maintained helicopter for sure. Plus, official Moldova says that they know that helicopter on a parking spot in Tiraspol. It has never been used. It was just parked there for many years, just being a unit of Transnistrian Air Force. So someone really needed it to happen. And the drone, by the way, which was used to target this helicopter, is not a big one, very small, looks like the FPV drone or something like that, or the small version of Lancet. That makes me think that the attack was conducted from the nearby area and not from Ukrainian side. Official Ukraine already dismissed the allegations that it is responsible for this attack. There are some forces which want to provoke the escalation in this area of Transnistria between Moldova, Transnistria and Ukraine. Something tells me that only one side could be behind it, and it is Russia. The last month's Transnistrian parliament called Russian to help them because Moldova pushes them a lot together with Ukraine. And here again the new escalation with abandoned, not airworthy helicopter. Unfortunately, we have the information that Russia targeted the Ukrainian Mi-24 helicopter, which was used to support the Russian opposition forces in Kozinka, the Russian Federation territory. So here you can see the tail marking, it is the Ukrainian one. By the way, speaking about helicopters, Ukraine got 2 of the Black Hawks already. They were shown in one of the videos. Fantastic and beautiful helicopters. Awesome. Alright, we have the first official exit poll results for the Russian election. Putin gets more than 87%. 87%. I think that finally they might even write 90%. Yeah, we understand that still majority of Russians do support Putin, but not 90%. It is a classical dictator's regime. All of the real Putin's competitors were just killed, jailed, or were not allowed to take the part in election campaign. According to the Russian political opposition, which mostly lives now abroad, away from Russia, 60 up to 70% of Russians do support Putin. Yes, the truth is that Russians are okay with Putin and do support the war mostly. That's why they also share the responsibility for what their regime is doing. And after Putin writes 90% of his victory, if Russians wouldn't start a revolution, not supporting the elections result, it means that they are okay with it. 90%, next time 95%, next time 100%, 105%. Leave us alone, we want to live our lives peacefully, bombing the other countries around, but not. It doesn't work like that, and Belgrade people already understood that. Yeah, I hope you can see this is the Russian TV program online, which also went live in some of the Russian social media, and here Russians scream of what is happening in Belgorod Oblast. Here are the comments: please pay attention to Belgorod Oblast. One more about the Russian Easter Day celebration, and all of the comments are about Belgorod. Show Belgorod, help us, Belgorod is dying, Belgorod is vanished, Belgorod is Russia. Is it? Maybe it's already Belgorod's People's Republic. Hashtag Belgorod Russia, Belgorod Russia. But the Russian media sources are just silent about what is happening in the bordering oblasts with Ukraine. Because if it happens outside Moscow, who cares? Meanwhile, Putin gave the press conference after the exit polls had shown his mighty victory. He also said about Navalny that there was the operation for his possible exchange for the Russian spies, which are now imprisoned, for example, in Germany. But Putin said that unfortunately Navalny died, so he created the conditions for him to die. The Ukrainian intelligence said that really Navalny wasn't killed at the time, but he had some of the disease and he was kept in a very terrible conditions. Also, Putin said that the Russian goal is to create a buffer zone in Ukraine to avoid Russian territory of being attacked by some sort of the forces. I wonder how they might do it, because Russia has no big potential to occupy more Ukrainian territories as they did in 2022. He already told about this buffer area, I think 1 year ago or something, so there are no big news about it. But it shows that they are oriented to capture more of the territories and continue this war. Meanwhile, Zelensky said that Putin imitated the election process to stay in power, and he will do everything, all of the massacres and all of the possible terrible acts, to continue his path as the Russian dictator. Let's listen to what Donald Trump says about the military support of Ukraine. This is no joke.
They pay us back, loan them the money, give it to them as a loan, let them be a little bit like they have to be a little nice. Loan them the money, don't just hand them a check for 60 billion. I tell you, Zelensky's one of the greatest salesmen in history. Every time he comes to the country, he walks away with 50 or 60 billion dollars. I've never been able to do that. He's a better salesman. It's a much better salesman.
I don't know how to describe it actually, my friends, but Ukraine doesn't need the actual money. We are speaking about the military support with vehicles, with artillery, with whatever that is being produced on American soil and just transported to Ukraine. Yes, we need to include the cost for transportation, for maintaining this weaponry, but we need weapons, not the money. He speaks about Zelensky as some sort of the trader. At the same time, then our military, let's openly say, struggles on the front lines, continue to lose the territories. Yes, small territories, but still. Those funds for Ukraine are being invested into the United States weaponry market, into their own companies to produce the weaponry. It creates more jobs in the United States. But he said like Zelensky put all of those money in his pockets, then he flying to the United States and flying back on his business jet. I don't have words to describe all of the that is coming from his mouth. To describe the situation on a grounded level, let's say you live more or less good life, you have a good income, but you have a neighbor whose income is not so good, but he works hard. At the same time, the other neighbor, the crazy one, starts to attack him. And this poor neighbor comes to you and say, "Guy, please give me some sort of the gun or something. I need to protect my family. I need to protect myself because that crazy neighbor already occupied some of my rooms. I need to do something with it." So would you just say, "Oh, no, you need just my money. Go to hell." Well, I can give you my gun, but you would owe me lots of the funds for it. Well, obviously Ukraine would agree with any sort of the scenario, loan or lease, whatever. We need to get rid of the crazy, aggressive neighbor. But here Trump speaks about this loan because the Republicans now have their own initiative to give Ukraine a military loan. It will postpone the military deal itself for a few more months, making Ukraine to suffer during the summer campaign. They do have the normal bill now, just vote for it. It will have the majority of the votes. But Mike Johnson plays the same old song as Trump. They really do not want to support Ukraine in any sort of the case. But Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban, who met with Trump not so long time ago, said that Trump's idea, real idea, is not to give Ukraine even a penny. Loan or not loan, but Trump doesn't want to support Ukraine in any sort of the scenario. He wants Ukraine to suffer and Putin to win. For me, it is very, very clear. Guys, I want to say the things as they are. I don't like this guy running for the presidency in the United States. I'm not the United States citizen, but the United States influences my country a lot, and I have the right to tell what I think about it and about particular candidates as well. I know that some of you, my viewers, do support Donald Trump. I have nothing against you personally, but maybe I could open the eyes for some of you to think about your choice. I know that I would lose some of the subscribers, some of the supporters, but I don't care. I say what I really think on this channel. I am who I am. I don't want to be useful for everyone. After all, everyone is unique and has the right to speak about any sort of the things, especially in internet. So for Ukraine, this candidate is no go. It's my personal opinion that is shared by most of the Ukrainians for sure. I can see it by reaction of our people in the threads with Trump's name. He basically uses our country and the suffering of Ukrainians to achieve his own political goals. Never ever I would support him. The United Kingdom Defense Secretary advised Ukraine to go on defense only and do not conduct the offensive operations elsewhere on the front lines, because obviously offensive operations usually bring more losses for any kind of the army. Because Ukraine is quite limited now in resources, our guys can only defend the territory, that's it. At the same time, Brits advise Ukraine to conduct the other operations in the Black Sea and also, as Ukraine does right now, targeting the Russian infrastructure, using the long-range kamikaze drones. This is one of the Russian so-called volunteers who went to Avdiivka to help the Russian army. What he says is just mind-blowing. He filmed this video for his wife Larissa. He says there is everything in the houses, televisions, fucking bills and shit. We just need to get a freight train out of here. So those are the Russian volunteers, and that is the Russian army basically. They ruin everything and take what they can carry. True barbarians as it was ages ago. Here you see why Ukraine is resisting. Otherwise, it could happen to all of the Ukrainian territory. Hopefully, Western politicians will understand it too. I think they understand, but they live in their world. My friends, now don't forget to press your huge like to this video, obviously if you like it. By doing so you help me a lot, and if you want to support my job that I do on YouTube, you may check out some of the links in the video description just below. Special thanks for my Patreon supporters and also the sponsors of my YouTube channel. Guys, thank you so much for your kind support. I wish you all, my friends, a peaceful sky wherever you are, and have a great time.